to Bubble Paint. In today's video I start the Frankenstein clubhead model. Enjoy! Yeah, it's the same pastel green AK colour for the skin that I've decided to go with on the bride. We'll do on Frankenstein himself. I'll probably do the eyes in white, but that's alright, I can add that afterwards. It's a pastel colour, so it's very light, so it doesn't interfere with that. Probably do the staples in a, well, it's definitely going to be in a metal, but I was thinking like a silver, add a little bit of shine. I definitely don't think I'll go gold or brass style. Or could potentially go like a gunmetal, would also work, but I think silver will probably look nice. Kind of like a decayed almost colour on skin, like basic skin colour with no blood going through it. So I think that's why the traditional version of Frankenstein is a greeny kind of colour. Blue would have worked well as well. I think that, even though that was just a colour blocker, I think that Montmartre blue does work quite well. I'm tempted with the bride to do something in the blue for the brain colour, but well, you know, it does distinguish itself from the skin as well, from the green now, so that could potentially work. Just haven't completely made up my mind there. Yes, I think actually that was a good choice for the skin colour here. I think that's going to work for them. I have lots of light blue shades, but I just was like, really the traditional Frankensteins are more green than what the blue I colour blocked it as. So I just think it was a bit of a misstep going in the wrong direction. I think this pulls it back into the green shade nicely, and I really do think that looks quite well. So with human lips, you've got like a reddy skin colour, and then you end up with like, you know, pinkish sort of lips. So as a bit of a play on the Frankenstein being like dead flesh brought to life, you know, he typically has like a greeny sort of skin colour. So because of that reason, I've decided to use this deep sky blue model colour for the lip area. Going to be very, very small amount of this, but just going to kind of give that impression of being, you know, like dead skin and cold blue, rather than like a pinky tone that you would get on a human model. So very, very small area, just a subtle kind of nod towards it. And I'll do the same on the bride. Purple for the shirt, which is one of the lightest purple colours that I have. I do have a pastel purple, but that's more just like an off-white. Just for the shirt area, there'll be a bit of contrast and difference to the blue, because I think I'm leaning towards him having a blue suit. And so yeah, there were a few ways that I could have gone. I was seriously considering doing like a camouflage, a army style look. Thought that might be interesting and different. Maybe not the jacket, but more the pants and boots. But in the end, I decided to stick with a blue theme for him. So I think a light purple shirt will work in well with that theme. There we go. You don't see much of a shirt. It's mainly jacket and pants. So going to work on his clothing next. I decided on this ultramarine colour by AK. So it's a blue, I would say kind of like a medium blue. Certainly got lighter, certainly got darker. So somewhere kind of like Goldilocks right in the middle. I think the dark or semi-dark, medium dark colour should work quite well with the metallic parts, kind of like offsetting that. Probably do a black belt and some kind of silver which will match like his silver. I'm planning on doing like all the studs and the screws in a silver kind of colour. Probably will do the chains though. He's got these chains on both hands. Do them, the current thinking is something in like a bronze, or actually no, maybe a gunmetal. A gunmetal would look quite good and still be quite different from the silver of his studs, which is what I want. Is just a little bit of contrast. Once again, a little bit of interest, having that look different. Probably should have done a blue colour block before using the final colour blue, but I did and ah around a fair bit about what colour I wanted him, his clothing to be in. So basically I've only just decided that yeah, I'll go with the blue. I think that'll work quite well, and it does seem to be looking quite nice, but I had a whole bunch of ideas on how I was going to go, so until I sorted out that, better off just keeping it with the white. I kind of regret on the Bride of Dracula, just quickly looking at her, doing the blue colour blocking on the head, because it meant I had to do two really thick layers of the yellow to kind of get rid of that blue. So I should have left that just white as well. It would have made my life a lot easier, I think. So yeah, sometimes you're better off if you haven't fully locked in what you're going to do colour wise. I would have been better off just leaving it as the white. The benefit of the colour block is that it gets it in the right tone, even if it's not the right colour. So quite often you don't need to do the two coats of the particular paint, whatever it is. Not that it's a cost saving measure, it's not about that at all. It's all just about getting the model looking good when you give it its final colour. So yeah, that's why I like to colour block if I can, but in this particular case, once again, you know, like if you're not sure what the final colour will be, you're kind of running around with a few different scenarios, better I'll just keep in a white. Some people like priming in black. I hate priming in black unless it's a specific reason, like for something like I did this kind of like monster called an Infernal Bruiser, and he had like black recesses and then silver scaled armor. For something specific like that, a black prime works okay, works well, and so that's exactly how I primed that. But for most of my models, I just prefer like a light grey, and then colour block on top of light grey. I just find that for what I do, that seems to work the best. Yeah, I think this blue will work fine. It's kind of not too dark to be like a blue suit, like almost black. A lot of blue suits are very, very dark. This is kind of a little bit lighter shade than that. Seem to be hearing a lot more planes overhead during the day at the moment, so I think things are starting to ramp up for the Christmas holidays. Lots of people flying here and there. Hopefully you don't hear that though on your audio. This microphone setup is supposed to be a little bit more selective in what you hear. We also have a lot of trouble with neighbours' dogs. Like, we don't have a dog in our home, but pretty much we're the only one around here that doesn't have a dog. So you know, we kind of feel like we have several dogs instead of just one. Not that I have anything against a dog at all. We love dogs. Love dogs. We just don't have one ourselves. Yeah, I'll probably go with a black boot, I'm guessing. Now, maybe the rubber black. It's one of my favourite blacks. An AK colour, and it's kind of like a really dark grey to black. It almost looks like the rubber, you know, hence why they called it that, for obvious reasons, but something like that I think works very well for a boot. I'll definitely be using the game colour silver. That will get a lot of use on this model. It's my favourite silver. I don't know, I find the silver and the aluminum, or aluminium depending on what part of the world you come from, colours can be quite hard to work with to get a good consistency. They tend to look quite patchy. The gold, bronze, you know, copper style metallics seem to be much easier to work with, but the game colour, it's not too bad. It seems to work reasonably well. Alright, the bride has had her base done. Now it's time for Frankenstein himself, using the same AK middle stone, so they have a bit of continuity, him and his bride. So very greeny sort of brown, stone colour, I guess, that makes sense. So. Kind of leaning towards painting some of these things on the base in metal and some of them in a actually not unsimilar grey to the grey of the base, like an industrial sort of grey. So we haven't made any final decisions about their colours yet, but can't really paint them until I've done the base. It's better to do the base first and then get nice clean edges around while I am painting. So, and the same with the black boots. I'll have like black rubber boots. So it's just a bit easier to do the first base coat first and then get a nice clean line on the boot. And we have two more Clubhead models after the Frankenstein and the Bride of Frankenstein are done, and it's a good thing because we're in November now and rapidly approaching the time when I'll need to give these away. It's always hard during the Christmas period to get all the roleplay groups people together because, you know, obviously people have a lot of functions and things on. Some people in the group have kids and the kids have a lot of functions and things to do, so it just makes schedules quite hard. It's not uncommon for us to not play through the month of December and parts of November into parts of January, so for some people that's like a break from role playing, I guess. For me it's always just like, when's the next one, when's the next one? I am very lucky to have a wonderful group of friends that, you know, we all have a shared interest. We've known each other for a long time and we do our role playing and yeah. It's a good group. And then we'll be off to Malaysia for a Christmas holiday. Our second trip, I believe, to Malaysia, so that'll be nice. It's a good food, although it will be quite hot and humid, I think, around the Christmas period. So shorts and kind of breathable shirts with the odd torrential downpour. We were at Phuket, Thailand last Christmas. Because of my work as a public servant, it's my office kind of pretty much shuts down for a few weeks around Christmas time, so yeah, it just makes sense to take advantage of that time and go somewhere. So anyway, yeah, we went to Phuket and we had a lot of good food. We're all about the eating out. As my wife says, for her a holiday is the not cooking and the not doing the dishes part of the trip. And fair enough. You know, I'm certainly no cook, so I very much appreciate her cooking. But yeah, for her, that's the holiday part, is the just relaxing. That's a little bit hard to get to. There's like a lip to part of this base. Could almost put resin in there if you wanted to, but it's not at the front, so it would just kind of fall everywhere. Excuse me. Just finished watching the current season of Slow Horses. So good. For anyone who's into spy stuff, it's just amazing television. So well acted, so well written. I've always been a big fan of the spy genre for movies and television series. A lot of the car stuff that gets converted into you know, movies or mini-series, stuff like that. Once again, very, very well written stuff, so quite like. I mean, sci-fi is obviously my main thing, you know, especially Star Wars. Anything Star Wars I have to watch. Even the kiddie stuff, even though some of it annoys me because I'm definitely not the demographic for it, I still watch it. And like, some of it pays out, like, you know, the animated Star Wars Rebels series, I kind of like part of it were a bit cringe-worthy, but I still watched it all. And then later on, when like Ahsoka and that came out, a lot of the series reference the animated Star Wars stuff, so I was like, oh yeah, that's cool, at least I know where they're coming from. I do geek out about my Star Wars. I still remember as a kid lining up to see, for about 3 times I think I lined up, to see the original New Hope Star Wars movie. At the time when you saw movies in actual movie theatres, not just streamed. There was such a time. So yeah, Star Wars has always been it for me. That's my main thing. Getting there. It's going to be a bit of a train wreck. Don't care about the boot. It'll get brown on it, but it's like a very, very small gap between the boot and this bit of equipment and the base. So but that's a good reason why to do the base colour now, so that I can get nice clean lines on the equipment when I'm done. I'm running out of paint. I do weigh my paint jars like maybe once a year or so, just to try and get an idea, sense of which ones I'm running out. I do keep a stock of backups handy, but it can be, in Australia especially, challenging sometimes to get a particular colour that you're out of. So I do like, for the ones that I use a lot, I do try and keep a backup handy of the paints. Because sometimes, like for example, the reason why I've got really tiny premium colour whites, which I use a lot of this stuff, they're like 60 mil, I think, something like that, instead of the 200 mil, is because I haven't been able to get a 200 mil bottle of the Vallejo white for like a couple of months now. Every time I check the websites, there's a few different suppliers of hobby products that I go to. And I check them all and they're all out of stock. Like, get some stock in from Europe, guys. Now it's Frankenstein's turn. His eyes are a bit bigger than his bride, but using the same fluoro blue colour, keeping the consistency with the two models. And so therefore expecting the same with as with her, that I won't need to actually do a pupil as such, although Frankenstein's eyes are a bit larger on the model than her eyes, and they do actually have a defined area for a pupil, but that's okay because I think the paint will tend to pool in that area anyway, making it look a little bit darker. But I do quite like the speckled look that just the one coat is giving with this particular fluoro paint, rather than like a regular paint, which would be a much more solid, consistent look. I think that is actually working quite well for a dead, as you will, eye, rather than like a lifed eye. So, like, you know, obviously Frankenstein, the concept is that its body parts stuck together, sewn together, hence the staples and that, and then brought back to life. So I think the lip colour worked quite well, and this is a reasonably sort of similar shade to that, although that was a paint, not a fluoro, but yeah. I do like seeing a bit of the white behind it, like the speckled. I think that kind of concept works really, really well. So for a couple of the items on the base, going to use the game colour, gunmetal colour. So a pretty medium sized brush, I guess. So this thing's got like hoses or attachments coming off it. I'm not gonna worry about painting them in the gunmetal colour, just the actual like pump device itself. This is not a pump because it's electricity, presumably, but that's what they do, right? So this looks kind of like a lightning rod to me, or something of that ilk, which is why I've painted it in a copper colour, whereas these look more like industrial equipment, so something in like a silvery grey colour, gun metal colour, I think should work. And the current thinking for the actual like station, you can't really see it very well, it's very well hidden, you can see the back of it easy enough. I'm going to do that in like an industrial grey, but some of the knobs I'm going to do in this same gunmetal colour. So there's consistency there, but also yeah, I think more like an industrial plastic look rather than a metallic look. I'm not sure you'd make, I guess you could make something like that all gunmetal, but anyway, like I say, colour wise that's not the way I'm going. Now that's going to be really hard for you to see because it's all recessed and hidden, but anyway, you can see the outside of it. I'll probably do the inside of it separately, and I have no idea what this thing is. It's not a fire hydrant, it's, yeah, I'm not entirely sure what it's meant to represent, so I'm just like, oh, I'll paint it gunmetal as well.